Hey guys, we got a new intake manifold on. Nitrous is hooked up. We're just about ready to start. Alright, hey guys, so back in the shop on the Canyon build today. Basically we are going to get the wiring harness pulled off to the side, get the lower frame rails prepped up to be painted. I do have one brake line that did break on me while I was cleaning this up, so I got to repair that line as well. And then we're going to get a fresh coat of paint, get some things cleaned up, get the wiring reorganized, and then we can go back at getting the motor bolted, or the heads bolted down to the motor. I did get the proper head studs for it now, not the weird length ones. So basically we can get those bolted in, get the trunnion kits in, get the push rods in, and then the motor for the long block is good to go. We did also pick up an intake manifold, and we got our headers in as well. So basically we have all the parts here we need now to get this thing together, except for the turbo, but he wants nitrous, so it's okay. Either way, I'm gonna go to time lapse, getting this wiring harness out of the way. You'll see me just kind of basically flip the harness over the side of the fender there, remanipulate some things. I do have to cut the steering shaft out and re-weld the steering shaft joint in there. Can't get that shaft no more, it's discontinued, so that's one thing we got to do as well. But as I mentioned, let's go to time lapse, get this all flipped open, and then we can show you the next part of the process. Got the bay all prepped up, got some paint on the frame rails down there, got the steering shaft in. If you see me doing the install of that, basically the upper shaft isn't available. Had to TIG weld it together, so that works great now. Transmission's holding jack is holding transmission up so that we can get that in place. And motor is basically our next thing on the list. So we're gonna get the valve covers off, get the head bolts bolted down. We'll go through the torque sequence of the processes involved with that. And then basically the motor is at that point good to go back in the truck. We'll have to install the flex plate there, but basically let's get a time lapse, getting a couple parts up. We'll get the lube on the end of the ARP rod bolts, and then we'll get those in and start our sequence of torquing. So I've got the ARP bolts just sitting in place. Gonna use the impact just to kind of like get them down in the holes. And then essentially we just follow a torque sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you've ever torqued a head down before, you're probably aware of how the sort of sequence goes. But they want us to do it in 4 steps. So we have 25, 50, 75, and then 25 foot-pounds on the 10 mil bolts. So let's get these torqued. So one header fits over there, one header doesn't. I have the motor right now jacked up off the stand holding the corner, and as you can see, as I slide the header down in there, I can get it to where the manifold wants to sit, but this tube here is hitting on the frame. So I'm okay with it because it means I get to play with a TIG welder. So let's make some modifications to make this fit. Okay guys, got the manifold in. You've seen the changes I had to make to it, so if you've seen the snapshots I just took there, basically I just took this piece off that this end was up here and flipped it. It brought it tighter out and then just rebent it around. So it actually fits really nice and tight down there. You see I still got to finish that edge. It's actually still hot, so we are going to get... We'll put a mask on. We're going to pull the manifold off right now and get that last little wheel finished up, and then this will go back on for the last time. So still going at the assembly. As you seen yesterday, we got the manifolds on, got the headers on. Got co-op student here today, so I got him putting the intake manifold together. And just going to prep the fuel injectors to go into the bores. And then get the fuel rails on. So worst case, if you got to use a little bit of the penetrating fluid to get the O-ring softened. Whoa! But so it's all coming together. Intake manifold, the old one's there. We'll get that one discarded. In the meantime, I'm getting the wiring harnesses all installed, getting the fuse panel blocked in. I do have to bend one brake line for this side as the other side broke as well. I got the new one in already. So let's go to time lapse and keep on keeping on. As you were seeing in the last video there, we were getting some things tidied up for the wiring. I just about got it done. There's a lot of little things I would have necessarily done when they originally made the standalone harness, but it's how they did it. It's how I had to put it back in without ripping apart the whole harness. Since we did switch to the new intake manifold, the way the harness kind of drapes in there, it actually worked out pretty good to run down the side of the manifold and around to this side. So came together pretty good. This should basically get the top of the stuff done. I got to get coil packs on, but I still got to sandblast the covers for them, get those prepped up. All the front drives still got to get sandblasted, painted up, and put back on. All my fuel system I've completed so far, so you can see we went ORB 8 to a step to 10 down to AN or 8 AN for the inlet. It comes through the fuel rail. I have this end line here. It's going to go here for the crossover tube, the ADA. And then basically this last little tube right here is the last piece that's going to connect us from our regulator from the rail. So it comes in the rail, across, through the rail, into the regulator, out of the regulator for the return, and then off the regulator I've grabbed our nitrous feed for our fuel system. So that should take care of that as well. As I mentioned in the first video, I wasn't overly happy with the way they had the crossover tube stealing fuel from this. Just not the best way to keep it regulated properly, so this way is much nicer. Hopefully we don't have any issues with it. It is boost referenced if you ever wanted to go boost. So I'm gonna get it back on time lapse, get these last couple pieces tied up, and then I'll get some parts sandblasted and get the front drive ready before we lay underneath this thing and get all the undersides. On this video, I'm going to call it quits for the day. As you just seen though, we got a lot of the stuff tied together. I'm going to have another video out showing the underside being put back together as well as getting the front drive cleaned up. I'll show the process I go through of just sandblasting the parts and what I use for paint to get them all nice and pretty again, I guess would be the words to say it. Till next time though, guys, I appreciate it. Take a look at the YouTube channel. Check out Instagram, Facebook for the updates. Go brain fart when I get into these little videos. But again, appreciate you watching. I put my hand down too. So till then, chat then, drive safe. Have a good night.